Okay, it's 12 o'clock, so I think we're going to get started. So welcome, everybody. My name is Mary Collier. I'm the Professional Development Program Manager at the Ontario Museum Association, and I am very happy to welcome you to Supercharge Your Online Fundraising with CanadaHelps. So before we get started, I just want to acknowledge that Toronto, where the OMA offices are, where I'm broadcasting, has been the site of human activity for over 15,000 years. This land is the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, Haudenosaunee, and Huron-Wendat. Today, Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. So I want to start things off by just making sure that everybody knows how to participate today. You'll slide and hear the presenters speak. If you'd like to ask a question or make a comment to the presenters, just type your message into the chat box, which will be at the right of your screen, and click send. If you don't see the chat box on your screen, click the icon of a speech bubble, which should be at the bottom, and it will appear for you. And if you send messages to all participants, that should make sure that everybody can see it. So we'll be monitoring the chat throughout the webinar, and we'll do our best to make sure that all of your questions are answered, and there's going to be some time for Q&A at the end. And I just want to let everybody know that the webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be available after the event if you want to have another listen. So the webinar will be 1 hour, and we'll begin with an introduction. I'll pass over to our presenter, and there will be about 15 minutes for discussion after the presenting is done, and we'll wrap up around 1 o'clock. So I am very happy to introduce our presenter today, Jacob O'Connor. Jacob is the Director of Charity Development at CanadaHelps, which is a Canadian charitable social enterprise that has facilitated over $1 billion to Canadian charities, and whose mission is to build capacity in the charitable sector by democratizing access to effective online fundraising technology and providing the education to succeed in the digital world. And Jacob is very passionate about this, and I know he's very keen to share with everybody in the museum sector. So I will pass things over and let Jacob get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary. And I'm super happy to be here with you guys today. I think before even getting into everything, I'm from Ottawa, and so I'm in Toronto today, but from Ottawa, and so blessed to grow up around a bunch of national museums, which my family and I frequented growing up. So kind of ingrained in me to visit museums, visit art galleries. And so anytime I get a chance to speak with museums and help them with their online fundraising, help them kind of get in with that strategy as we move into this new kind of digital age, I'm always super grateful for that opportunity. So thank you so much for being here today. As well, we'll send along any slides. We're going to go through looking at some examples of some of your fellow museums, some case studies, as well as, and we can also, this can be a little interactive. We're a smaller group here, so I think we were saying to hold questions till the end, but also as stuff pops up, if you have a question along the way, I could try my best as well to see that and answer those questions. But we're going to go into looking at some examples of some case studies, and then if people are up for it as well, we could even go and look at how to start creating some of this stuff to get going right away. So yeah, super happy to be here, and thanks, guys. So here we are, Supercharge Your Online Fundraising with CanadaHelps. So this is a kind of layout of what we're going to do today. So the first thing, before even getting into, supercharging and all this, I guess, kind of jargon words that I get help with our marketing team from here at CanadaHelps, we want to just talk about why online giving in the first place. So I'm sure for most of you there is some type of appetite to learn more as you're here today, but let's dig into that. Just kind of get a little bit of high-level look at why online giving, and then before we get into kind of the basics around stuff, just who's CanadaHelps. So I'm not sure how much you guys are familiar with CanadaHelps as an organization, so we'll dig into that a bit as well. We are partners with museum as members of the charitable sector, and we have our own mission, as Mary touched on. And then we're going to just get into kind of the basics. In preparing for this webinar, I did a lot of digging into kind of how museums in Ontario are fundraising online. And I think regardless of where we're all at, I think it's always really good to start with those basics, really making sure we have a strong presence on our website and it's optimized for support from our community members and from donors. So we'll go through everything that you would need to kind of optimize your online presence. And then we'll look into some demos, and then we can start getting a little more sophisticated, let's say, and we'll look at some campaigns and some different events that we can, once we got those basics locked down, that we can start to customize and cater to different people. And so shoot your questions along as we go, and we can kind of guide things that way as well. So this is the plan, but whatever you guys are interested in too, I'm super happy to help with that. And just a side note before we jump in here, I'm really happy after this. If you have more questions, my contact details are there. Please shoot me an email at any time. Let your staff know that they could shoot me an email at any time, and I'd love to help answer any questions that you have. So, as you mentioned, why online giving? So I've put a reference to a couple really interesting reports here at the bottom of the page. So when you guys get your webinar slides afterwards, you'll be able to kind of dig into those a little deeper. Part of what CanadaHelps does as a charity is we try to kind of lead in the sector, to advocate on behalf of charities, and to educate people across Canada on why it's important to give, especially to small to medium-sized charities. So we've released in the fall our annual giving report. And so basically we're taking data from a whole bunch of different sources to look at the state of giving in Canada. And what we found is since 2006, giving in Canada has remained flat. So the compound annual growth rate between the period from 2006 to 2015 is actually slightly negative at about negative 0.5%. So while we look at the population in Canada is growing, the demographics are changing, but giving is actually not increasing in line with that. So I'm sure we all feel it. We feel it here as well at CanadaHelps as a charity, but giving hasn't exactly grown too much. Along with there's always competing demands for funding, the advent of crowdfunding, and all of these different trends that are coming in and kind of disrupting the way the sector has traditionally been. But in that same time period, online giving has surged. And I think if you reference on the right-hand side, large part to that is that Canadian donors, and this trend is also reflected when we look worldwide, as you can see in the Global Trends in Giving report that's referenced, people more and more are preferring to give online. Whether that, we'll get into this, but whether that's using a mobile phone or on their browser, on their tablet, this is more and more becoming the preferred method of giving. So online giving continues to surge through this period. So when giving is declining or remaining flat as a whole, this is an opportunity for us all as a sector to take advantage of. And you also, a big reason of this, so this is Canadian donors as a whole, but this amount that prefer to give online actually increases substantially, as you would expect, in the younger demographics. And as these demographic changes continue to happen, as our population grows older and kind of the next generation, the millennials are already the largest working generation in North America, and as Generation Y comes up, these preferences are only going to shift more towards online. And new technologies are coming in, and they're coming fast. So when CanadaHelps was first founded 20 years ago, at that point, kind of the mission of CanadaHelps was to provide a place where donors can come and donate to any charity in Canada, because at that time, virtually no charities were accepting donations online. This is in 1992, 2000. Now, that's every charity is expected to have a donation option online on their website. So 19, 20 years, that completely changes, and this change is only kind of happening more rapidly. Okay. So again, so just to summarize this, oh, sorry about that. Okay, cool. I'm hearing I'm breaking up a bit, so apologies about that. Cool. And then let's talk a bit about CanadaHelps as a whole. So as I mentioned, we are also a charity. So we have been around since 2000. And our mission is to inform, inspire, and connect donors and charities, as Mary mentioned, to democratize access to effective fundraising technology and education in the charitable sector. So currently, of the 85,000 charities in Canada, 19,000 charities are fundraising using CanadaHelps. So almost a quarter of all charities are fundraising using the CanadaHelps platform. In 2018, over $183 million was facilitated for Canadian charities through CanadaHelps. And so part of that, why I'm here today, and so those numbers are great, and the donations that are going towards Canadian charities and that growth is amazing. But a massive part of what we do is that education piece. And so I work in the charity engagement team here at CanadaHelps, where we work directly with organizations like you guys to help get your fundraising on point. In the last year, we've worked directly with 2,200 charities to set up donation forms, set up charitable events. And then the 14 free educational webinars were provided by our team. This is only our CanadaHelps standard webinars. In total, when we take into account webinars such as these with different networks across Canada, we're well up over 50 webinars. So it's free to use all of our services. All of our education is free. We provide webinars, white papers. You guys all have access to this right now at no cost. Yeah, so again, super happy to be with you here today. And so if some of you are familiar with CanadaHelps, I think we've done a lot in the past 5 years or so. So a lot of people still have this perception of us as the CanadaHelps button. So I'm not sure if that's what's happening in this webinar here, and maybe folks can let me know. But most people know CanadaHelps is a button you put on your website. You click on that button, and you are brought to a profile page on CanadaHelps.org to complete a donation. In 2013, the board brought in a new CEO, Marina Golkovats, and since then we've launched custom donation forms, peer-to-peer fundraising, and events fundraising. So virtually all of the ways that charities fundraise, we've provided now these tools at no upfront costs, so that everyone can have access to really top-of-the-line fundraising technology. So I'm here today from CanadaHelps. I'm happy to help about using CanadaHelps tools and that sort of stuff, but really, even before getting into the CanadaHelps tools, again, I want to focus on the basics and kind of how do you set up your website. And I think that's kind of the best place to start. Anytime someone is looking, if you're looking about online fundraising, the first place they're going is to your website to learn more about you and to try to donate. So really important to have that down pat. Awesome. Cool. So let's get started. So with the basics. So optimizing your website for support. Cool. So as I was mentioning, so that homepage is arguably the most important element of your website. And so you guys are going to have these slides as well. But there's a few rules of thumb, and these are kind of general marketing principles that when we look at setting up our website. So again, that's the first place I land once I get to your website. So arguably that most important part. So the general knowledge is that you have 3 seconds from the time someone arrives at your website to engage them. So, putting a very engaging message as to the work that you're doing, a really nice image, as you see here in Food Share, putting your branding and name prominently on the front. So it's really important. So it's websites, within 3 seconds, they know they're at the right place, okay? So then once you pass that 3-second rule, you have about 30 seconds to convince your visitor to stick around. So we've come to this by looking at like common bounce rate. So usually it's people get to a website, leave within that 3 seconds, or they stay longer, and then you have that 30-second period to get them to stay for an even longer session. So once they pass that 3 seconds, again, 30 seconds to convince your visitor to stay. So you want to make it really scannable. So all of the different kind of work that your organization does, you want to have that listed in a really easy to read menu across the top of the screen in that kind of header bar. So impact, programs, donate, which we'll get into in a sec, about maybe the annual report, all of those different ways in different parts of your organization that a visitor wants to see, you want to make that really easy to find. So here's just a really good example. This is the Yonge Street Mission. Right when I land on their website, all of this information, so I'm going to talk about this concept, is called, it's all above the fold. So when I say above the fold, it's kind of when you get to a website, all of the relevant information. So how to get involved, to learn more about the organization, contact us, donate. All of these different sections and call to actions are visible without having to scroll down the page. So everything that you have that's important to your organization, you don't want people to have to work to find that. You want to keep that above the fold of the page, similar to kind of a newspaper where it's above the fold, so it's in the top half. So this is a really good example from the Yonge Street Mission here. Next, we're here to talk about online fundraising. A really, really important part of that, it seems very simple, is your donate button, or your support button, or your give button, however you want to call that, whatever is authentic and sounds good for your organization. The verb can change. But so number one, you want to make it easy to spot no matter which page the donor is on. So we'll get to that in a sec, but it's with some real examples. But basically, wherever someone is on their website, so if they're going and they're looking at your annual report, or if they're in a testimonial section where they're hearing real stories about, your museum, the programs that you're running, they can easily, if they're called to donate at that period, they can find that donate button and make a donation. So it's not only on your main homepage, it's throughout your website where I can click on that donate button and make a donation. It makes it easy to spot if you choose a color that stands out. So instead of having it just the same color as the rest of your menu options, put it in an accent color just to make it really stand out. And then double part your call to action. So basically, you have it in that header, as we're seeing here, but also maybe put it in the footer of the page. So often, someone will look in that main navigation if they're looking to make a donation. The second spot that they're looking is they're scrolling down to the bottom of the page, where you usually would typically have that contact us information and that donate information. So put that call to action in a couple different places. And then from there, and again, we're going to look at some examples of this, but you want to link it directly to a donation form. So if someone has clicked on that donate button, they're declaring they want to give you a donation, they want to support you. Once they click on there, they should go directly to a donation form that lives right on your website. So from there, it shouldn't be, just call the organization, or they have to search through text to find the next step to make that donation. They shouldn't have to go to another page after that. Once they click on that donate button, it should go right to a donation form to make it as easy as possible. And kind of just in that vein, and this is something that you guys might be familiar with, just fewer steps equals higher conversion. So a kind of general rule of thumb is that every click on that kind of path towards completing a donation. And also, aside from completing a donation for you guys, it could be becoming a member or maybe signing up for a program. Whenever you kind of have a funnel where someone lands on your main website and they're going to kind of complete a transaction, or maybe it's even sign up for your newsletter, the easier that you make that, the more success you'll have. So every click results in approximately a 50% traffic loss. So if you're going from that donate, then to another page, and then to another page where they have to search prior to making a donation, chances are you're going to lose a lot of traffic and a lot of donations there. So this is a really good exercise. How many clicks does it take for a visitor on your website to become donor or lead? So really good to kind of test that out on your own website. It really should only take that one click to come right to a donation form from your website. Another really cool thing we see a lot of organizations doing, and it just promotes a different way of thinking of your organization for a potential donor or a potential person that's engaged with your organization, is a ways to give page. So yes, we want to ask for donations, but that's not the only thing that we want to ask for, and we don't want to make it seem like that's the only thing that we're looking for, because it's not. There's also, for each of us, I know that's the case here at CanadaHelps, due to our resources, we're always looking for volunteers. We'd love for people to fundraise on our behalf. And so not just having that donate button, but this ways to give page. And we'll look at, again, a real example of this. People can give one time. Monthly giving is huge for organizations within the sector. So by listing it as a different option, you can speak to the benefits of it, and you can provide a tailored experience based on that as well. You might be looking for items. You might be allowing for people to make a tribute gift, to volunteer on your behalf. A big one that we'll touch on is donation of stocks and mutual funds, which is a really, really fast growing avenue of donation. So these are a whole bunch of different ways. Some of them might be applicable to you at your organization, and some of them may not be. But listing all of these ways so people know that there are available avenues for them to give to you. And then this is a big one. And again, just in terms of, kind of supercharging that online donation. And we've done the surveys, and this is reflected in the CRA's data as well. 65% of donors say they're more likely to increase their total donations if they knew the impact of their specific gift. Okay, so these are two examples here. So $100 will provide 20 children with school lunches. So that's for a breakfast club or whatever that is. Or $1,000 will allow us to host 3 art therapy workshops. So both of these are really just providing the donor with a tangible impact of their donation amount, and you can provide those different amounts along with those impacts that relate to those amounts. So it is really straightforward for you think of UNICEF and purchase a goat or something like that, where $100 buys a goat for a family somewhere in the world. But you can so some of you would have different programs that you're running. Or maybe different exhibits that you want to bring in. Whatever it is, you could even just look at the cost that it takes to operate a certain part of the museum, and you can break that down and it costs $100 to operate this part of the museum for a week. Those are really easy calculations to make, and it just really, as a donor, I know, okay, I'm doing this. This is the impact that my donation is having. And then here's another really big one. So again, yes, we're looking to increase donations, to acquire donors, but having someone added to a newsletter, I've looked around, I've seen some of you guys are doing this already, but this is a really valuable way. So maybe someone's not quite ready to be a donor yet, but This is a way to kind of engage people with your organization, tell them what's new, and if a need comes up in the future. As we saw below, the number one way that Canadian donors prefer to give is when they're prompted by email. So by getting that email, you can cultivate them to become supporters of your organization and just to let them know what's going on at the museum. And then just kind of lastly here, before we get into looking at some examples, really important to know that over 50% of web traffic is now coming from a mobile device. So there's a couple pieces there. So you just want to make sure that number one, your website is optimized for mobile. Okay, so a really easy way to do that is to just pick up a smartphone, type in your website within the browser, and see how it looks. So if you look at this example from Save the Children, this is a completely different experience than what they would have on a computer. So the website has completely adjusted for that mobile phone. I don't have to scroll left and right. It's only up and down. The website is responsive to whatever device that I'm using. So this is an example of a mobile optimized website. Something that if your museum currently does not have a mobile optimized website, with that 50% traffic coming now from a mobile device, really important, something to invest in to give people a better experience on your website and then to make it easier to give. But I'll also say, using CanadaHelps tools to accept donations, you don't necessarily have to have a mobile optimized website because our tools on their own are mobile optimized. So we'll get into that in a sec. Cool. So just kind of going back, we want to make sure we have that really tight homepage. So within 3 seconds from getting to the web page, I'm at the right place. I have that kind of a really nice succinct statement as to what I do at the museum. I have a really kind of engaging image. I know I've come to the right place and I'm engaged now with this website. From there, you have about 30 seconds. And you need to map out your website so all of the important areas that people would want to kind of browse are available and they're easy to spot. Then we get from there, it's really about having that donate button. And you can see here in this example of Save the Children, it's an off color. It's in that top navigation of the page. And no matter where I am on the website, it's there. I make it easy for my donor when it's time to give. They can just click that button and give. So kind of on that note, again, least clicks possible. So the fewer clicks results in higher conversion. And so because of that, right when someone clicks on that donate button, you want them to go directly to a donation form. Cool. Then we said there's all these different ways to give. So not just donations, but we're looking for volunteers. We're looking for donations of stocks and mutual funds. We'd love for you to fundraise on our behalf. So providing all of the different avenues through which people can engage with you at the museum. Okay. And then lastly, we looked at signing up for that newsletter to kind of cultivate potential donors and really just to let people know what's going on at the museum. And then doing all of this mobile friendly. So this 50% of web traffic is now from a mobile device. We need to make sure we cater to all of these users that are using mobile devices. Okay, cool. So that's kind of the basics of it all. And again, you're going to have the slides, so you can reference back to this next time you're looking to make any changes to the website or if you have a website overhaul. And then also, please feel free to reach out to me. Okay? So now we're going to take a look at some examples, and I'm going to switch to the screen share. So if we could just please confirm that you guys are seeing my screen, and we'll be good to go. Are you guys able to see the screen on? Awesome, amazing. Cool, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so again, so we're going to look at the basics here. And I wanted to show some examples of some some of your peers that are doing a really good job. Okay, so here we are at Theatre Museum Canada. So right when I land here, I know I'm in that right place. I have that beautiful large logo. I have an engaging photo here, and the new legend library that's happened at the museum. Then as well, right in this main navigation, I have this donate button that's in an off color. So it's not the same, it stands out, and it lights up in a different color when I highlight over. So I'm going to click on that. Perfect. So then I'm coming right to this page. So right from the page, it took one click. I scroll down, and here is a donation form right on the website embedded there. So from one click, I went right to a donation form. You'll notice too, this donation form is customized with their same colors, giving that brand consistency. I can go in with, select my fund and make that donation. Okay? So that's a really great example. Let's look at another one. Here's another really great example with the Fan Shop Pioneer Village. So the same way, I get right to their website. I have it big on history, big on fun. I love it, super engaging. And then right at the top of the page, in that header, there's this donate now that's been accented. Looks different than all of the other options on that menu, so it's easy to spot. I'm going to click on donate, and when I get here, this goes directly to they have a beautiful video, and then just below here they have a donation form. Again, using the same colors on that website to make that donation. Okay, so super, super simple, really gets the job done. Cool. Here's another really great example. This is the Canadian Canoe Museum. And so on this website, as you might know, they have a capital campaign ongoing. And so we'll get into this in a sec. So when I click on the donate button here, I'm brought to a secondary page. Okay? And so I can donate to the current museum, or I can donate to the new museum as a capital campaign. So in the slide previously, it said that there was exceptions to the rule of reducing those clicks. So this would be a case where they're going to provide two different options based if I want to donate to the current museum or the new museum, and they provide a catered experience for each of those. So if I click to donate to the new museum, they've created this beautiful, beautiful page that you can see here. So this is their new museum capital campaign. They have a beautiful image of what that's going to look like. Every contribution to the new museum campaign is a significant one. They have these custom donation amounts that they've made specific to this campaign, provides a really good experience. Likewise, if you chose the current museum option, another beautiful background image here where they're really giving that kind of, again, you got the canoe, the wood in the background, a really, really good experience for the donors, embedded right on their webpage. So we're going to get into some examples of some campaigns here in a sec, just to kind of show the different uses. But this is a great example of providing kind of that tailored experience based on a particular campaign that you might have coming up. Cool. And let's look at one more option. So this is from the Art Gallery of Peterborough. Okay, so when I'm on that main website, so I'm going to the Art Gallery of Peterborough. In this case, we don't have the donate menu, donate button straight from the off, but if I go to this Join Us, I have my options. So this is similar to that Ways to Give, right, that we had talked about. So become a member, donate, volunteer opportunities, employment opportunities, all those different ways to give. So I'm going to go to donate. Cool. And so they have this here. So what they have here is a link. I'm going to click on that link, and I'm brought to this custom donation form. Okay. So for those of you that do not have a mobile optimized website, so when you go to your website using a mobile phone, you're having to scroll left to right. It's not an easy experience. This is a really good option. Okay, so so right now, if if you did not have a mobile optimized website and you put a donation form on your website, like some of these other examples, it would make it really difficult for the donor to go ahead and complete a donation. Okay, so they would have to scroll left and right, zoom in, zoom out to complete a donation. So what the Art Gallery of Peterborough has done here is they've linked directly to a donation form. Okay, and this donation form in of itself is mobile optimized. So you can bring a donor from your website that's not mobile optimized to a mobile optimized donation form that's going to make it really easy for them to go and complete that donation. So again, I would say it's high priority if you do not have a mobile optimized website to make that change, to invest in that upgrade if it's possible, because of how many people are browsing in that way. But even if you don't, you could link to a donation form that's standalone, and you can still give a really good experience to your donors in that way. Okay. So these are all great examples with museums here in Ontario. I just wanted to take a look at some other possibilities as well. Okay, so here is a look at this Kids Eat Smart Foundation. It's a breakfast club in Newfoundland, and you'll see, so I get to their website right away, over 29,000 meals. That's what we serve to children every day in Newfoundland and Labrador. So right away, I know I'm at the right place. The logo's front and center. I know what they do. You'll notice here they have this Donate Now button in that off color. They've gone actually one better, guys. And so again, if you're looking to a new website, you're looking to improve your online donations, this is a really good thing to look into. It's this scrolling menu bar. So as you see, as I move throughout the page, this menu follows me. So anytime I want to go through a different page, or anytime, I'm looking through here and I click on this video and I'm so inspired, I don't even have to scroll all the way to the top. This donate button follows me around, and I just click on this and I'm brought to the donation form to complete that donation. So really good experience. This is kind of like a next level, and it's a small thing, but it really helps out. Okay, and then you'll notice with this organization as well, they have a ways to give page that I was mentioning before, and like we saw with the Art Gallery of Peterborough. So as I was mentioning, so they promote, firstly, before anything, their monthly giving option. So monthly gifts are really important to this organization, as I'm sure they'd be valuable to you as well. So they feature this option. So and they have these impact statements that they've broken down. They've done the math. Then when I click on this donate monthly option, they've actually directed me to a donation form that is defaulted for monthly donations with a really nice image. And those same impact statements that I saw on the previous page are here right on this form. So some of you might have, we accept gifts of monthly donations, we accept one-time donations, but in the end, you're just going to the one donation form. Through CanadaHelps, you can actually create custom donation forms for your monthly donations in particular, for your one-time donations in particular. You'll also see too, as I scroll down, they actually have this button to donate securities. So as I mentioned before, donations of securities are actually the fastest avenue of growth that we see at CanadaHelps. It's also one of the most, it is the most tax advantage way of giving. I know most folks would probably think, oh, you would need a broker for that. And a lot of you probably do have a broker. But through CanadaHelps, you can actually accept donations of stocks and mutual funds completely online. So you click this button and you're brought through to complete that donation of a stock or a mutual fund right to Kids Eat Smart. You don't need a broker. You don't need to do anything. Here at CanadaHelps, we complete that entire process, and we're just depositing the cash in your bank account. I did not see a lot of this on the websites that I visited within the network. And a lot of donors would think, only, the Red Cross or really large organizations are equipped to handle these sorts of things. just by putting this section on your website, you're signaling to the donor that, hey, you can give in this way. And you notice they've listed the benefits here. Kids Eat Smart has been very successful, a small organization, in getting these gifts of stocks and mutual funds just from putting this button on the website. So this is something that I would, even if you have your own donation forms already, and you're all set up in that sense, this is something that I think any of you can benefit just by putting it up there. Even if you have a broker and you'd rather do it that way, putting a section on your website to speak to the fact that you can accept those types of donations. Okay, cool. So now let's look at one more, another example here of what you can do. Okay, so this is an example from a capital campaign that's happening in Alberta. Okay, and I know plenty of you guys have capital campaigns that come out throughout the years. And so, a lot of you would ask for a cash appeal or send a mail or however that is that you're asking. We saw right at the beginning, number one way people like to give is online through credit card, right? So you can create a donation form specific for your campaign. So you can create a page on your website. You notice that for this, they're asking for a specific ask. It's quite a big ask, this $500 gift. So you have to figure that out within your community, what's the right number there. But they've set that up as a default amount, ready to go. I'm just clicking next through and completing that donation. Okay. Here's another example of this. And this is another campaign, a project-specific campaign. But using the CanadaHelps tools here, you can add a fundraising progress bar. So if you have a specific goal in mind with your campaigns, you can set that up. You can customize the page so it lives directly on a campaign page within your website, and then it's just ready to complete those donations. Here's another example. Just wanted to show this. This is Habitat for Humanity in Ottawa. Again, they have that off-color donate button. As I scroll down, it follows me around. I click on donate. And when I click on donate, I have this beautiful image and I have this donation form right on the website. So embedded, matching colors, beautiful. Okay. So just as we look through all of this, so the principles that I've shared through that PowerPoint slide, they're going to apply with whatever platform that you choose to use online. Those are kind of just general principles to apply to your web page. So you guys have those slides. I would make sure to try to follow those principles because they've been proven by data to have success. So, all these examples that we've looked at so far are using the CanadaHelps donation tools. Okay, so these are all donation forms through CanadaHelps. So I just wanted to show you guys quickly. Okay, so again, so CanadaHelps, free to register, so no upfront costs. There's no contracts, so you can try it out and then leave and not use it anymore. That's no problem. You can use it alongside anything that you currently have already going on. Okay, so it's kind of no exclusivity. Just use it as you need. Okay, so to create one of these forms that live on your website, so just like one of these general donation forms, there's no cost. To kind of sign up, for those of you that aren't registered with CanadaHelps, you can register for free by going to CanadaHelps.org, going this For Charity section, and then in the fundraising solutions, you click Get Started, and you're off and running. So I'm just going to click Get Started, and I'm off and running. Once you have your account that's free to set up, everything when it comes to CanadaHelps is available to you from the moment that you register. Okay, so you want to put this beautiful donation form on your website. You don't have to call anyone. You don't have to pay for an extra module. It's there. So anything that it comes to these custom Donate Now forms is in this Donate Now section of your account. Okay, so you can come here at any time and you can create a form to go on your website. And I'll just show you this quickly. So let's take a look at this. So you come in here and you can create a form. Apologies for that. So I'm just going to call this one my general donation form. And we also have a ton of resources in terms of like demos and webinars and how to get deep into setting this up, which I'd be happy to share with. And again, I'm happy to jump on a call as well. But I can just come in here, create a form, and you get to pick what are your one-time donation amounts, the presets, the monthly donation amounts. I can customize that thank you message. Okay, so I can go in and customize this, or I can just use my default form. So I'm just going to hit save. I'm going to use, I've just created a form that easily. Okay, so you can just name it and you have a form ready to go. So let's go back here. So in order to embed this on your website, so again, if you want to go and customize with some colors for a particular campaign, with some suggested donation amounts, once you get a hang of it, again, that's available to you to go and self-serve. It takes about 5 minutes. So I've created the form, as you see here, general donation form. All you have to do to get this on your website is click this embed button. If I click on that, it's going to give you a piece of text. All you have to do is copy that piece of text, and then on your website, you're just pasting it wherever you want it to appear. So you don't need any coding skills, you don't need any design skills. You're really just filling out fields in the back end of your account, and then creating that form, and then clicking on this embed button, and copy and pasting that on your website, and that's it. So you don't have to worry about setting up with a payment processor, any of these different types of contracts. You just register with CanadaHelps, create a form, you put it on your website. The only fees that are associated with using CanadaHelps are the transaction fees. So when I go here, I create this form for free, I copy and paste, it appears. As a donor, I go through this transaction. CanadaHelps instantly tax receipts donors on your behalf. So when using the CanadaHelps tools, you will not have to provide any charitable tax receipts to your donors. We take care of that for you, okay? And that's all built into the cost. So for this top of the line kind of donation form on your website that you can customize for different campaigns, as we saw with the Canoe Museum's capital campaign, with this capital campaign here, you can have that on your website, and it's only a 3.5% transaction fees, inclusive of all credit card fees. And that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else. So as a donor, I make my $100 gift. I'm tax receipted instantly for the full amount of that $100, taking that administration out of your hands. And then we would send to you weekly by direct deposit $96.50. So that $100 less 3.5%, in this case $3.50, directly to your bank account. And it's really as simple as that. So again, so getting at your website, so far we're looking at kind of getting your website down and rocking to kind of optimize it for that support. And then when you have that beautiful donate button, you click on that, and you want to go directly to a donation form, like all these examples that we saw today, right? You want to click that donate, we're going right to that donation form. Through CanadaHelps, you can create this form at no cost, put it on your website, it could look beautiful just like this one, and then we're taking care of those tax receipts on your behalf, okay? Then, depending if you have different campaigns with different progress goals, you can create as many of these forms as you want at no extra cost. So we have organizations that would have literally 300 donation forms within their account, using it for all of the different campaigns or funds that they have within the organization. So again, all this is available to you now. Please reach out to me if you need a hand. And I think just before we wrap up and get into some questions, if there are any, I also just wanted to share, so I just wanted to look at the basics today, and if you guys are interested in anything else down the line, I'm happy to come back and provide some more help for you guys. But CanadaHelps also has an events platform. So for those of you that are running any kind of events or galas, golf tournaments in support of the museum, we offer an events platform. This is it here. Very similar to something like an event site. The main value add here is that it actually does split tax receipting. So if there's no tax receipt issued, it deals with that. But if you have a $100 ticket, and let's say you want to issue a $50 charitable tax receipt, we do that on your behalf. You can set that up. Takes all of the administration out of the picture. You can also merge your offline purchasers, so you're for sure going to get people that are paying with cash and check. You can add them here, manage them all in one place, and actually receipt your offline purchasers at no cost. So the only platform in Canada that is doing this. This is also available through a CanadaHelps account. If we go back to the charity here, it's just in that events section. And then very, very lastly, we also have, as you see here, a peer-to-peer fundraising tool. So this is when you're getting fundraisers to people that are engaged with your organization to fundraise on your behalf. So here you have one where this is the Sons of Lanarchy. They have a hockey tournament. So this is something where you're creating an overarching campaign, setting a goal, maybe not, but then you have teams and individuals creating pages on your behalf and sharing them on your social networks. So this is a tool, typically is about $5,000 to set up, plus a $5,000 ongoing fee. This is probably the tool where at CanadaHelps we're democratizing access the most, because again, we offer no upfront fees or recurring fees to use this tool. So this is a really huge opportunity. Something I'd be happy to dive into a little bit deeper at a future date, but I thought it would be great just to focus on those basics today. Okay, so if we have, we've got about 8 minutes left, so I don't know if anyone would have any questions. Wanted to leave some time for that. But yeah, so I'll stop sharing my screen now. And we are into question period.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jacob. I just wanted to remind everyone that if you do have questions, you can enter them in the chat section. And if you make sure to send to all participants or just directly to the presenters, and that'll make sure that we can see them and we'll address them. I thought I might get us started with a question if while we wait for people to type. And just, I wondered, Jacob, when you mentioned sort of collecting all that information about potential donors, kind of having a list of emails and you have a bunch of leads, do you have any tips about kind of in your communications how to convert that list of emails into people who are more likely to actually make a donation?
Thanks for the question. And if I could just clarify, so you have an email list, and it's actually how to convert them or how to identify which ones would be more likely, like which would be a better group to ask, if I could just clarify the question.
I guess it's more like, how would you encourage people to give through your communications?
Yeah, 100%. So, I think it depends on the situation. So, if this is just, I think first of all, like there's an ask that goes out in any of these communications. So if you're sending an email, you have all these emails, or potentially you have addresses, and you're sending a direct mail. You're reaching out to them for a reason. Right, so potentially, maybe you have a campaign that's ongoing. Basically, when you're asking, there's a particular need. So I think it's first, right, the best thing to do is identify what is that need. So that need could be, we have a capital campaign. Maybe we have just like an operating shortage, and it's something we need to communicate. maybe we really are looking for some more sustainability, and we're looking to have a, grow a monthly giving program, right? So I think that's the first thing that you're going to identify is, what is it you're actually asking for? What's the goal here with this communication, whether it's an email or a letter or whatever it is. Once you have that, it's really about how are you communicating that need to the potential donor, to the person that you're contacting. And I think time and time again, we see that it's best to do this in a donor-centric way. And when I say donor-centric, it's really communicating about what the donor is doing by giving this gift. So you have this need. What can the donor do? And it's kind of that impact framework. So, you're $20. Thank you so much for, being engaged with our museum. We're really looking to grow our monthly giving program. As a monthly donor, you could for sure come up with a better copy than me, but as a monthly donor, you will do this. You will contribute to the ongoing excellence of the museum, and some way to recognize them. So it's telling that story about the ask in a donor-centric way. But I think then once you do that, the crucial part is making it easy. So they say they've read this, they've resonated with this. Okay, now I want to give. So right within that email, it's not go to our website to give or give us a call to give. So you could have that give us a call if that's an option, but you want to link them directly to your website with that donation form ready to go. So for the instance, if you're looking to grow your monthly giving program, you want to bring them right to a donation page that is pre-selected with monthly giving. And even if you're asking for monthly gifts, $25, let's say, that $25 amount is pre-selected. So it's just really giving that continuity and making it super simple for donors. So I hope that helps that with the question.
Thanks very much, Jacob. We did actually have another question. Just what is the CanadaHelps fee for a securities donation transaction?
Awesome. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Faith. So for a securities donation transaction, it's actually a sliding scale. So that ranges from a 2 to 3% transaction versus a typical donation is a 3.5% transaction fees, but on securities, it slides from 2 to 3%. That 2% is over a $100,000 gift. That scale is available on our website in the Our Fees section of the 4 charities. But you're ranging from 2 to 3%. Really, where in terms of fees, if you have a broker on the larger gifts, you will have a lower fee through a broker. But it's really about, again, just adding that avenue. Online is the way people want to go. And on the smaller gifts, a lot of brokers won't even take those smaller gifts. We're doing a lot of securities donations of, like $500, $1,000 kind of every single day. And we can't be beat on the fees for those smaller gifts of stocks and mutual funds.
Okay, great. Thank you. So if anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Oh, we do have another question. A follow-up question regarding email campaigns. Do you find it helpful to have a different email segments, i.e. a segment for past donors, a segment for potential donors, a segment for donors who attended your event?
Thanks, Jessica. That's an awesome question. Definitely helpful. So definitely helpful. But at the same time, I would say that does create work, right? So you could segment down quite far. So you could create a segment for your past donors, potential donors, and people that attended the event. I think any time that you could speak more directly to someone, where you're acknowledging, how they've interacted with your organization in the past, that's really going to increase your conversion. It's going to really make them feel like you know who they are. So I think that's really, really good. But again, you just would have to balance that with, every email. Then instead, I'm writing 4 or 5. I'm writing 4 or 5 different communications. So it's kind of a balance there. I think that if you're using MailChimp or that kind of integration, you can set up those templates. And I'm not sure if folks on here are using those types of mail tools. So, you can have a blanket, like 3 different templates. And then if you're keeping that data, you could just merge in the fields based on if they are those types of donors. That's a bit of a deeper dive. But yes, definitely, anytime that you could speak more directly to someone, that's a huge boost. But you're just going to have to balance that with resources that are available. I think that if you were to you can also craft one single email that is more of a catch-all, and as long as you're telling that story really, really well and you're making it easy to give, so again, having that donate button or that call to action right within the email, I think you can do just great that way as well.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we are at 1 o'clock, and so I think it's time to wrap up, but I want to say a very big thank you to Jacob for sharing all of this with us. I'm sure there's a lot for people to consider, a lot of interesting ways to move forward, and as Jacob mentioned, absolutely do keep in touch. And so thank you everybody who signed in today. Thanks for your participation. The recording will be available shortly, and you are welcome to share it with your colleagues who may not have been able to attend. If you're already a member of the OMA, that is awesome. If you're not, I would encourage you to join us and find out about all the other professional development opportunities we offer, about our conference, and explore the other resources that are available and ways to connect with your colleagues. And when you leave this webinar, you will be directed to a short evaluation form. If you could give us your feedback, that would be really wonderful. And let us know what other kinds of webinars you'd be interested in the future. And so that's about it. So thanks again to Jacob and CanadaHelps for being with us today. And have a great day, everyone.
Thanks so much, guys.